Welcome to the Ontario Mortgage and Real Estate Insights podcast, where we explore the latest developments, trends, and regulatory changes impacting the real estate industry in Ontario. I'm your host, Steve Hamoen, bringing you expert insights to help you stay informed and make well-informed decisions in this dynamic market. Let's dive into today's topic. Today, we're discussing a significant proposal by the Ontario Real Estate Association, or OREA, which aims to address outdated real estate laws in Ontario. OREA has released a white paper urging the Ontario government to implement 9 key policy recommendations as part of the final phase of the Trust in Real Estate Services Act, or TRRESA. This phase is crucial as it seeks to enhance professional standards, increase consumer protections, and tackle outdated laws and loopholes within the province's real estate sector. The white paper, titled Continuing to Raise the Bar for Real Estate in Ontario, outlines several recommendations aimed at modernizing Ontario's real estate regulations. These changes are designed to ensure transparency, improve agent training, and discourage unethical practices in the industry. One of the standout recommendations is to close what OREA calls the auctioneer exemption loophole. Currently, auctioneers can facilitate real estate sales without adhering to the same regulations as licensed agents. OREA wants to bring auctioneers under the oversight of the Real Estate Council of Ontario, or RECO, to ensure all property transactions meet the same ethical and professional standards. Rick Kedzior, OREA's 2024 president, emphasized the need to eliminate this two-tiered system of consumer protection, ensuring all real estate transactions adhere to consistent standards and oversight. Another critical recommendation involves the mandatory disclosure of latent defects. These are hidden issues like a cracked foundation that could turn into costly surprises for buyers. By requiring sellers to disclose such details, buyers can make more informed decisions about a property's true condition. This practice is already in place in regions like New York and Quebec. Additionally, OREA is advocating for clearer disclosure rules in guaranteed sales programs. These programs involve agents agreeing to purchase a home if it doesn't sell, and OREA believes clearer rules are necessary to protect consumers from unexpected fees or conditions that might affect their final payout if the guaranteed sale is triggered. To strengthen the workforce, OREA recommends a 2-year mentorship and articling requirement for new agents. This hands-on training would provide new agents with practical skills, addressing concerns that current educational requirements leave many unprepared for real-world demands. A recent survey found that 2/3 of Ontario realtors feel that existing training lacks the practical components essential for a successful start in the field. OREA is also advocating for specialty certifications that would allow agents to market themselves as experts in areas such as commercial, agricultural, and recreational properties. This would bring Ontario in line with other Canadian provinces that recognize and promote such specializations, enhancing consumer confidence by allowing buyers and sellers to work with agents who possess specific knowledge in these property types. In terms of enforcement, the white paper calls for administrative penalties for minor infractions, which would enable RECO to focus its disciplinary efforts on more serious cases. For example, an agent might face a fine for a straightforward advertising violation instead of undergoing a lengthy review process. This would allow RECO to allocate more resources to cases of significant misconduct. For major violations such as breaches of ethics, OREA suggests a disgorgement policy, which would require offending agents to return profits from unethical activities to affected consumers. This policy is similar to practices in securities regulation and underscores the importance of protecting consumers from financial harm. Moreover, the association proposes an extended cooling-off period of nearly 2 years for agents whose registrations have been revoked due to serious breaches, arguing that the current 1-year period is insufficient. Rick Kedzior concluded by stating that by implementing OREA's 9 bold policy proposals, the Government of Ontario has the opportunity to continue leading in professional standards and consumer protections, thereby strengthening Ontario real estate for generations to come. The Toronto Regional Real Estate Board, or TRREB, has expressed strong support for the Ontario government's introduction of several key measures aimed at creating a fair and affordable property tax system while also promoting housing supply across the province. These measures were outlined in the 2024 Fall Economic Statement and TRREB is particularly pleased with the government's ongoing review of the property assessment and taxation system. This review focuses on fairness, affordability, business competitiveness, and the modernization of administrative tools, which align with TRREB's long-standing commitment to advocating for greater tax fairness for Ontario homeowners. TRREB is actively working on new research to contribute to the government's consultations on these matters. They are urging the province to maintain a strong focus on increasing housing supply. This includes a diverse mix of residential units, student housing, long-term care facilities, and retirement homes, all of which are critical to meeting the diverse needs of Ontario's growing population. As a champion of public policy solutions that aim to boost housing supply and enhance affordability for homebuyers, TRREB looks forward to collaborating with Minister Calandra and Premier Ford. Their ambitious goal is to build 1.5 million new homes by 2031, a target that TRREB supports wholeheartedly. Additionally, TRREB welcomes the government's exploration of a beneficial ownership registry. This registry would require private corporations to disclose information about their beneficial owners, serving as an essential tool in combating financial crimes such as money laundering and tax evasion within the real estate sector. By empowering law enforcement to better detect and prevent illegal activities, this initiative is expected to further safeguard Ontario's real estate market and protect consumers. Jennifer Pierce, TRREB's president, emphasized the importance of these measures in fostering a healthier real estate market. With over 75,000 residential and commercial professionals, TRREB continues to connect people, property, and communities, advocating for policies that benefit both the industry and consumers alike. Today, the Ontario government has announced a significant adjustment to its housing projections, indicating a decrease in the number of new homes expected to be built in the coming years. This shift places the government further away from its ambitious target of constructing 1.5 million homes by the year 2031. Premier Doug Ford initially set this goal to address the province's housing crisis, but the government has yet to meet any annual targets, although it came close last year by including long-term care beds in its count. For this year, the target was set at 125,000 homes, but according to the fall economic statement released on Wednesday, the government now projects only 81,300 new homes will be built. This figure is based on an average of private sector forecasts and represents a significant reduction from previous expectations. Projections for housing starts in the coming years have also been lowered compared to the forecasts made during the spring budget, with the most robust growth anticipated in 2027, where approximately 95,300 homes are expected to be constructed. Finance Minister Peter Bethlen-Falvey remains committed to the 1.5 million homes target, emphasizing that while high interest rates have impacted the housing market, these are cyclical challenges. He reassures that the government is laying the groundwork for long-term success by continuing to invest in the infrastructure necessary to support increased housing construction. However, opposition leaders are skeptical. Liberal leader Bonnie Crombie argues that there is no conceivable way the government can achieve its target. She criticizes the lack of incentives for developers to build homes, noting that many construction workers are leaving Ontario for provinces like Alberta and British Columbia, where more housing is being built. Crombie highlights the initial fanfare surrounding the government's promise to build 1.5 million homes, a commitment that now seems increasingly unlikely to be fulfilled. New Democratic Party leader Marit Stiles also voices her concerns, pointing out that the government's priorities appear misaligned with the urgent need for housing. She highlights a focus on projects like a proposed tunnel under Highway 401 and a luxury spa in Toronto, which she argues diverts attention and resources away from addressing the housing shortage. Stiles emphasizes that housing affordability is a top priority for Ontarians, and she sees the government as retreating from its commitments to tackle this issue. In response to these challenges, the government has established several funds, totaling billions of dollars, aimed at stimulating home construction. These include incentives for municipalities and funding for housing-enabling infrastructure, such as water and wastewater lines. The spring budget allocated $1.6 billion for these infrastructure projects, addressing one of the major barriers municipalities face in facilitating new housing developments. Despite these efforts, municipalities have expressed concerns about how their progress is measured regarding the Building Faster Fund. This fund provides additional financial support to communities that exceed or come close to government-assigned housing targets. Municipalities have requested that their eligibility be based on the number of building permits issued rather than housing starts, arguing that developers may delay construction due to high interest rates, supply chain disruptions, or labor shortages. In a familiar refrain, the Toronto Regional Real Estate Board's TRREB Condo Market Report for the third quarter of 2024 reveals dwindling sales, increasing inventory, and a declining price point for condominium apartments in the Greater Toronto Area. This trend, fueled by high borrowing costs, has resulted in historically low condo sales across the GTA and a surplus in inventory. Urbanation President Sean Hildebrand recently estimated that the inventory is just under 40,000 units. At current sales levels, Hildebrand noted, it would take over 50 months to absorb all the supply available in both the new and resale condominium markets. The TRREB's data for the third quarter shows a total of 4,004 condo sales, marking a 4.4% decrease year over year. Meanwhile, a substantial 14,721 new condo listings were added, reflecting a 10.6% increase from the previous year. The new condo market paints an even more sobering picture, with sales plummeting to just 567, the lowest quarterly sales volume since the first quarter of 1995, representing an 81% year-over-year decline. For buyers, however, these conditions offer certain advantages. With low demand, buyers have more negotiating power, and as supply continues to build, prices have been coming down. In the third quarter, the average price for a GTA condominium apartment fell by 3.3% annually, translating to a drop of $23,807, bringing the average price to $672,672. In Toronto specifically, prices decreased from $737,035 in the third quarter of 2023 to $738,000 this year. TRREB Chief Market Analyst Jason Mercer cautions that these conditions will not last indefinitely. As condo market conditions start to improve in the months ahead, we will begin to absorb the large standing inventory of listings that have accumulated over the past year, he explains. Ultimately, this will lead to tightening market conditions and renewed price growth, but this will become more of a story as we move through 2025. The anticipated improvement in market conditions is driven by a series of past and expected interest rate cuts, which experts project will bring the interest rate down to 2% by July 2025. As monetary policy eases, more buyers are expected to enter the market. TRREB President Jennifer Pierce notes, while condo sales remained low in the third quarter, market conditions are expected to improve. As the positive impact of interest rate cuts continues to grow, a growing number of renters will likely transition into home ownership. Many of these households can initially take advantage of lower borrowing costs and lower home prices, thereby making their monthly payments more affordable. As we wrap up today's episode, let's turn our attention to a recent Scotiabank poll that sheds light on the home ownership goals of younger Canadians, despite the current economic challenges. The survey reveals that both Millennials and Generation Z Canadians are steadfast in their aspirations to own a home, even amidst soaring housing prices and economic uncertainties. Interestingly, more than half of Millennials, at 55%, and Generation Z, at 58%, feel that purchasing a home is currently beyond their reach. Nonetheless, 58% of Canadians aged 18 to 43 are determined to buy a home within the next 5 years. This determination persists even as many report financial strains due to the economy, which has caused some to delay their home buying plans. Affordability concerns among Canadians have risen by 12% since 2021, with older Canadians feeling the pinch more acutely, while the younger age group of 18 to 34 continues to grapple with these challenges. As many younger Canadians face their first mortgage renewals, the poll highlights that nearly 72% of Generation Z and 48% of millennial homeowners are at this renewal stage. This starkly contrasts with only 14% of Generation X and 10% of boomers, indicating the younger generation's growing presence in the housing market. Despite recent decreases in interest rates, 68% of Canadians across generations express concern about renewal rates, with nearly half prioritizing competitive rates. Tracy Gomes, Senior Vice President of Real Estate Secured Lending at Scotiabank, notes that while homeownership may seem out of reach for many young Canadians, their determination remains unwavering. The poll also uncovers a clear demand among younger Canadians for accessible and transparent guidance on homeownership. 63% of Generation Z and 54% of millennials are seeking clearer home buying information from financial institutions, while 27% are uncertain about the steps involved in purchasing a home. Digital accessibility is especially important to Generation Z, with 35% preferring an entirely online mortgage application process. The findings also highlight some generational shifts in homeownership aspirations. 37% of Generation Z and 31% of millennials have advanced their home buying plans due to improved financial conditions over the past year, compared to only 15% of Generation X and 10% of boomers. This shift indicates a growing confidence among younger Canadians in their financial outlook and a proactive approach to achieving their homeownership goals. That's all for today's episode of the Ontario Mortgage and Real Estate Insights podcast. Thank you for joining me, Steve Hamowen, as we navigated through the latest developments and trends in the Ontario real estate market. Stay tuned for more insights in our next episode. Until then, stay informed and make those well-informed decisions. Goodbye.